I'm inspired by your consistency. I
Hmm.
mean, I've been watching you over the past year. I mean, following from a
Yeah.
distance, but just seeing that you're always putting something out that inspires me. And
Some guests are serious, some are really funny. What are you waiting for? Come and get this honey. It's absolute bedlam, absolute bedlam, absolute bedlam. Join the hype, like and subscribe. Wow, that's a really good question.
Hello, Christian. How's it going?
it's going well. How are you?
Yeah, it's good. I've just been speaking to you offline. Um, it's been nearly exactly 365 days since we spoke last. I reckon this is because potentially with some guests, I'm like, oh no, I've run out of time. Let's recap in like a year from today. And I think this might be the first example of that actually working without moving things month to month and you know. So yeah, I've inspired you to start your own podcast.
Yes, 100%. I will say
So
though,
yeah,
I remember I got this mic
yeah.
last year shortly before our episode because I
Oh,
didn't like I had a different mic, just didn't like it with my
yeah,
voice and stuff. And when I bought this mic, I thought
yeah,
maybe someday I'll start a podcast. And I was so excited to go on your podcast because I think that's one of the first things I recorded on this mic.
yeah.
And now I use this mic for my podcast.
There we go. It's meant to be.
You're the inspiration.
100%.
Got to use the investments that you utilize, rather than just going on other people's. You might as well, use what's around you as much as possible.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So I got one question at the start of this, which I wrote months ago, but I could
Okay.
see on Instagram that you were jet setting quite a lot, going to
Yes.
all these conventions and all these expos and stuff. I don't actually need a full answer from you. It's more of a joke question. But how many air miles do you think you've done since we spoke last?
Okay. So, I use the Flighty app to
Yeah.
track all of my flights.
Yeah.
There's not an easy way to filter like a half year, like,
Okay.
June
Yeah. Yeah.
last year to June this year. I can say in 2025, I did over 89,000 miles across the whole year. This year so far to date, I've done over 30,000 miles.
Jeez.
Too many.
I don't think I've been on a plane since we spoke last, so
Oh, wow.
you're
Okay.
carrying me.
Yeah, I did make it to
You've got my
London
back.
last year. I was bummed we couldn't
Oh
meet up.
yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
That was my first and so
Yeah.
far only time in the UK.
Hmm. I think London would be a good experience for you, but sometimes with these things, if you've got like back-to-back events, you kind of fly in and fly out, and you don't even really get to experience the city,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I had 24 hours to really sightsee in London.
Yeah.
I did a lot though. I saw the British Museum. Is it St. Paul's Cathedral? Like
Yeah.
the big one. London Eye,
Yeah.
cringy tourist stuff. I tried, okay, I tried a Guinness, but it was non-alcoholic because I
Oh, the
don't really
zero
drink
one.
that much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I I don't like beer, so I
Yeah.
shouldn't be surprised, but to me it was disgusting.
So I've heard really good things about it. I haven't actually tried it myself, but these are people that already drink Guinness normal,
Right.
and they
Yeah.
compare it to the AF
It
version.
it just tastes like
Yeah.
bitter. It was like burnt coffee almost,
Mm,
and I'm not really a coffee drinker either.
mm.
Just like this weird, bitter, odd taste. I also made someone crash out, which is entirely my fault because I walked into the pub and I don't know anything about this. I guess Guinness culture is they pour it once and then they like set it up on the ledge and you wait
Yeah.
till the whole thing turns black and then they top it off.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so first of all, I thought it was my glass. Turns out it was the guy next to me and he ordered
Okay.
a regular Guinness. So the bartender sets it up there, and I pick it up, and he just starts freaking out. He's like,
Oh my God.
the guy next to me, he's like, "What are you doing? What are you doing? You have to leave it there until it all turns
Yeah.
black." I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I thought it was mine. I didn't know." And it was,
Culture shock.
yeah,
I love that. Yeah, most people pour it to like three quarters
yes,
and then
yep,
they do the 100%. But
yeah.
there's this crazy TikTok phenomenon now of split the G.
Mm.
People go flipping crazy for this, where the Guinness logo, people like to drink it to the point that it splits the letter G in half.
Okay.
I just don't really, I don't get it. It's almost like, sometimes you see these things on TikTok and they're like obviously a joke and they're obviously like an inside, you know, weird sort of let's keep this going and then it just catches fire and before you know it, some of your
Yeah.
favorite creators are splitting the G and you're just like, how did this
Monkey see,
happen?
monkey do.
Yeah, it is odd though how these things crop up and then they completely disappear. Like they were never there in the first place, and I have to check my own sanity.
Oh,
But yeah, there we
100%.
go. So last time we spoke, were at that time were you full time on YouTube, or is that a recent development that's happened in the last 12 months?
Yeah, so I've been full-time on YouTube since 2020.
Okay, love that. Wow.
Yeah.
The
It's
next
a
question for that then is 6 years in now, how do you stay motivated to keep pushing out as much content as you do across all your platforms? Because myself, if I think I this is really dark, but I think if I went full time on YouTube, I'd probably have a lion most
yeah.
mornings.
I mean, to
Because I
give you
like,
the honest
yeah,
answer, I've dealt with a lot of burnout over the past year.
yeah,
My output has been really about half of where I want it to be. I'd like to post weekly. I did that for a while. It's
mm,
been on average like every other week
yeah,
lately. So, I'm
mm,
working on getting that back up. I mean, the thing that I discovered was you have to be careful how much sponsored content you take because you can really burn out doing that.
mm,
And it's unfortunate because the affiliate commissions, that's how I was able to go full time in the first place, which is great because you can talk about whatever you want. I mean, mind you, you got to be talking about products that will convert and pay a decent commission, but within that, it's you can sort of pick any category you want and then talk about whatever brand you want because most brands have affiliate programs. I'm finding that just isn't working anymore. So I've had to really rely on sponsorships to keep going, which, thankfully demand is there, but
mm,
you start to feel like you're just making commercial after commercial and it's
mm,
it's very demotivating after a while. So, honestly, yeah, that's been a real time struggle that I feel like I'm on the tail end of, but
mm,
I would say, yeah, I mean, if you're in this full time, you really have to consider a sustainable business model. Sponsorships are great. For a lot of creators, that's the only way they're able to stay in business, but you really have to be careful how many you take, what you accept, and not just bury yourself in commercials that you do not want to make. Because your audience can tell too, and then that
mm.
starts to impact performance.
Yeah, because naturally you want to keep the lights on, but some people do it to just do that, and then before they know it, they're inundated with. There's a guy I used to watch a lot called Ryan Bruce Fluff, and he was a YouTube channel called Riffs, Beards, and Gear,
I
and
think
he
I've
was
heard of
in
that
a
channel.
he was in a band with Jared Dines, who's a really really successful like meme guitarist, and it was always like the top 10 things a hardcore band would say at a gig and all this sort of stuff. And I remember he did a podcast, a video one, and he showed the host of the show how much gear he had in this like spare room. And he's like, all of this has been sent to me for free, but I literally don't know how to get through it because they're asked like Fender are asking me to create a tailored review Gibson have just sent me their most recent guitar, and I've said to them that I really appreciate you sending this, but I probably can't get a commercial out for you in like 7 months.
Yeah.
And it's like, what a weird problem to have where, yeah, imagine getting like a brand new car and Tesla or whatever are saying to you, you have to get this done in 2 weeks. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh my God, but I've got so much other stuff. Like, I can't just, but
Yeah.
thanks
No,
for the car.
the
Yeah.
struggle is real. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I get inundated with, because I primarily cover software companies saying, we'll give you a free software license. I'm like, thanks, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to use it. I can't test it. Like I'm already full time making
Mm,
videos on the companies who are sponsoring stuff.
mm,
Um it's just a
yeah.
weird spot to be.
Mm, yeah. So your new podcast, am I right in thinking that you've done a 3 episodes so far?
Yep, that's correct. I We've actually recorded five and I have
Okay.
not had time to edit the next two. I need to get that done. But yeah, we've got three posted.
So your podcast is very religious and about, that sort of thing. What's
Hmm.
that like in comparison to someone like me that primarily relies on guests to do a podcast about? Because you've obviously got everything you need between the two of you. Is there a plan to get guests on in the future, or is it just storytelling and self, you know, assurance, I suppose?
Yeah, we do want to have guests on. In fact, we've been discussing like how soon can we do that? We kind of want to pull a Joe Rogan and only do in-person guests.
Yeah,
We're sort of figuring out if we're going to do Zoom or not, but um,
yeah,
right now we're leaning towards in-person only, so we're figuring out getting more equipment. We don't have a third mic, to be honest. So
yeah.
getting getting a third mic. Now we're in the middle of finding a new location to shoot because the
Mm,
coffee shop that was letting us use their place, they are going out of business permanently, which is very unfortunate. But
yeah,
yeah, we want to have guests, and honestly, we're very much still figuring out the long-term direction of the podcast. I mean, the topic of Christianity and faith is that's always going to be the topic, but just sort of like the sub niche within that. Are we always going to have guests on every episode? Is it going to be sometimes? We don't know yet. We're very much throwing spaghetti at the wall, seeing what sticks. I
yeah,
think we have probably 10 or so episodes we can crank out easily just from like backlogged ideas that we've both had that we've never put into content. But once we burn through those, it is going to become more challenging. And I think we're going to need to get some guests on to keep things interesting.
Mhm. Would you ever consider getting a hardcore atheist on, like Richard
Sure.
Dawkins or something, and just really thrashing it out?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that would be great. We want this podcast to challenge everyone listening, whether you're a Christian or not. So I think that would be awesome.
There's a Christian podcast I listen to quite a lot, but it very much turned into that after there's a guy called George Janko. He used to
Mhm.
be friends of Logan Paul. They used to work very closely together. And he got Andrew Tate on his podcast and he flew to Romania to interview him. And that episode, I think it was a two-parter, but when I saw that, I was like, okay, this guy's back, fully, fully back. And I think his part one with Andrew Tate got 15 million views in like
Whoa.
2 weeks. And he tries to not convert people, but he tries to say, like, look, when I was at my lowest point, I reached out to a higher power and said, look, I don't have all this figured out. Please help me. And he's done very well. He's a very successful man. But he always points out that people always call for God or some sort of entity or some sort of deity when people are at their absolute lowest, you know.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting paradox because I do believe that there is something out there, but I wouldn't consider myself someone that goes to church. And, there's a lot of theory and religion versus science and all this sort of stuff, isn't there? So I think to not include debates and discussions and polarizing views in your podcast would be a bit of a disservice, really, because I think a lot of people go down this road and they accidentally end up preaching to their audience. And
Mhm.
obviously, if the people watching your podcast are already Christian, then you're literally preaching to the converted.
Yeah.
And it can get a little bit like, I might not actually tune into this every episode because it's
Yeah.
kind of just my self-belief coming back at me. Do you know what I mean?
That's a really good point. Yeah, I appreciate that feedback.
Mm,
Yeah, right now our goal has been targeting what I would call lukewarm Christians, because that's
mm,
kind of where I was in my faith is I called myself a Christian, went to
mm,
church even, but I don't feel like I really was in it. I was kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
mm.
So, because my goal with any of my content, the software stuff, now my personal content, has always been just help people that are 10 steps behind where I just was.
Yeah.
So that's where I was last year. I'm helping people out of that, but then I'm going to continue to grow and progress. And
Mm,
yeah, that's something to be aware of for sure. I
mm.
appreciate you pointing that out.
How did you meet your co-host for this podcast, or is it someone that you already knew from way back when?
So it's a really random story, but I went to a Good Friday service at a different church in Nashville, not my home church. I helped at the one at my home church, which was in the morning. But there's another church I've been curious about because in Nashville we have churches on every corner. It's kind of crazy the like consumerism culture here around church.
Yeah.
It's like pick your flavor of church. There's 50 of them within a 5 mile radius. So there's one that's known for their music, and I'd been wanting to check it out for years. And I met someone who goes there through this ministry, just serving the unhoused community in Nashville. And so she invited me to come with her to the Good Friday service. So I did. And Cole, my co-host, was like the only guy who just walks up out of nowhere and introduces himself. He's like, "Hi, I'm Cole." We talked for a while, exchanged contact info, and then he started a men's group, like a Bible study, and invited me to it. And at the first Bible study, I was like, man, this conversation's so good. This could be a
Yeah.
podcast. We should have
Yeah.
recorded it. And he goes, do you want to start a podcast? I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, I do. And that's very unlike me. I don't usually just jump headfirst into new
Yeah.
projects like that,
Mm,
but I think I had the desire to start a podcast for so long and I didn't want to do it by myself. And
yeah.
that connection was there, the way we have conversation. I was like, yeah, this just makes sense to do a
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. Are there any other podcasts of your theme in your immediate area? Have you got any rivals?
Um, I mean, I don't see them as rivals, but the biggest one is probably Bryce Crawford. I really like his content, the evangelism that he does. Um, I'm sure there's many others I'm not aware of yet. I haven't found them because I
Okay.
think a lot of the podcasts, like you said, are sort of preaching to Christians.
Yeah.
We're hoping to do something a bit more outward reaching than that, but we're still figuring
Hmm.
out the exact messaging and all that.
Hmm. Is there any plans to get any sponsors on that? Because I imagine that would be a completely different discovery for you as someone that's getting constant tech software
Yeah.
people, you know?
Yeah, I mean, Cole and I are both open to sponsorships, but I think we're both cautious about we don't want to promote anything that could
Mm.
um, end up causing backlash or, issues in someone's life. I'm always careful with anything that's like finance or religion or,
Yeah.
the last thing I want to do is be the voice for something that ends up really harming someone in their faith walk or just life in general. Which you could argue that about any sponsorship you take, but I think it's a bit, I want to be a bit more careful. So personally, I think the best monetization path for this podcast will be a membership community,
Yeah,
and maybe merch at some point. But yeah, I mean, if the right sponsors come along that we
yeah.
both can get behind, then sure.
And what is your podcast called, just for people that want to check it
It's
out?
called Save a Seat, and it's saveaseatpod.com.
And it's audio and video, but is there a certain platform that you're really trying to spearhead? Because my one currently is YouTube. I don't currently put any podcasts up on Spotify.
Yeah, right now we're just on the podcast apps, so Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all the apps. We do want to get on YouTube. I'm going to be
Yeah.
100% honest. The reason it's not on YouTube yet is I'm terrible at making thumbnails, and we
Okay.
don't have the resources yet to hire a thumbnail artist.
Okay.
So all my
Interesting.
videos on YouTube, I hire a thumbnail artist, but I just don't, we don't have the overhead or resources yet to hire that out for the podcast. So I'm just like, "Ah, I need to like find some AI or something that
Yeah.
can make a thumbnail."
Yeah. Yeah, it's usually two people, obviously, in your circumstance, it would be two people laughing. That seems to be
Sure.
that's also what YouTube seems to randomly throw at you.
Yeah.
It sort of screen grabs a point in the episode where you're both laughing. It seems to automatically pick that as the best performing sort of A/B testing and all that sort of thing. But yeah, because my editor, Jamie, is easily the best editor I've ever had. He's so good, and he's actually looking to go full time as an editor because
Okay.
it's not his day-to-day job. It's a vocation. It's a like me doing this. It's just a bit of fun. But to me, currently, in my current state, I want him to be an editor more than I want to be a successful podcaster because I'd rather help someone other than myself. I love that feeling of like, and he's also got such a crazy work ethic.
Hmm.
And it's like, I just want to push you out into the world and like, I don't know if you know where Birmingham is in the UK, but it's kind of similar size to London.
Yeah,
And
I
that's
I
where he
mean
lives.
loosely.
He's got all this stuff around him.
Very cool. He's
Yeah.
got to check out YT Jobs if he hasn't already.
Yeah, I think he's been on Fiverr a lot, and he's also sort of put himself up as a Fiverr creator. And he'll
Mhm.
say, if you want me to write questions for your guests. But naturally, ChatGPT has absolutely destroyed that because
Sure.
why pay a human when you can just put a prompt in and it will give you a 10 question response in 6 seconds?
Oh,
But
100%.
yeah, it's tricky, isn't it?
Yeah.
Brave New
It's,
World, this AI.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's I have a lot of thoughts on that.
yeah. Other than your co-host doing the podcast with you with Save a Seat, has he also been online much? Has he become quite an established creator outside of the podcast, or is this all new to him?
I mean, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I
Yeah.
would say it appears to be mostly new to him. We're also still like building our friendship because we met very recently,
Yeah.
but I know he's done some stuff on his Instagram. He's a songwriter and producer,
Okay.
so most of his content has been around
Hmm.
that and not so much the talking head faith content.
Hmm.
And I know he's said several times on the podcast that he's deleted social media, so it's really interesting.
Okay.
He'll download Instagram, open it, post something for the podcast or like repost something to a story and then delete the app every single time.
Damn.
Which, yeah, I'm like, I kind of wish I could do that, but that would just be
Yeah.
way too much of a headache for my job.
It would be nice if you could archive the app versus
Yeah.
straight delete, then re-download.
But I think that's
You know.
kind of like the screen time feature. Like, there's no shortage of ways to hypothetically do that
Hmm.
on iPhones and Androids,
Hmm.
but people just, we're not disciplined enough.
No.
That's what it boils down to. It's if there's candy in front of you, you're gonna eat it.
Yeah. But if you eat too much candy, you'll get diabetes.
Hi, I'm Wilford Brimley, and I have diabetes.
Yes.
So if the Instagram app is the first app you see when you unlock your phone, you will go on it. Whereas if you put it on page three, its own little folder,
Yeah.
and call it after 6 p.m. or, it is discipline though. I completely agree. My screen time just from doing this podcast for 6 years has gone up. But
Yeah.
I now have to check myself and say, right, okay, enough now. I need to, make my lunch for work tomorrow and, I need to message this person, find out what time they're free to record, and then put my phone away.
100%.
Just because it's visible, it doesn't mean that you need to go on it. But we are pretty locked in at this point, aren't we? Into the whole, we've become cyborgs.
We
You know,
become sidewalks?
yeah, cyborgs. We've
Cyborgs. I
become
thought you said
robots.
sidewalks. I was like,
No,
what? No, yeah, you're
very
right.
profound,
And
Ben. Do you mind
yeah.
telling me what on earth that means? Like 2FA, I watched your video on 2FA, and you think, bloody hell, like I can't actually do my job now
Yeah.
without having my phone nearby.
Yeah, it's
You know,
insane.
it really is a real, especially if you're a bit older than ourselves, what the bloody hell's 2FA and why do I need it? And
Right.
what was wrong before? And
Yeah. So
people are
we're
so
becoming
resistant.
robots, and
Yeah.
then robots, AI are becoming us.
Yeah. The
It's kind of
cycle.
scary.
Yeah. I might leave it on that harrowing thought and we'll do part two.
Hello, one and all. Fancy seeing you here. I just want to take a second to promote a product that's quite dear to my heart. I'm very pleased to announce that the podcast is now an affiliate for Vocalzone. As a podcaster, as someone that wants to make this a part of my life, my voice, the ability to maintain my voice for a steady period of time as I record these episodes, make sure that it's in the most tip-top condition it can possibly be, is absolutely essential. For me to do this every single week means that I need some help. So Vocalzone have come along and they've absolutely smashed it. I am a huge fan of Vocalzone. I'm a huge fan of their pastilles. And they don't just make pastilles, they also make tea and they make throat spray. Throat spray is a really interesting one because typically with tea and pastilles you have to actually sort of eat it or digest it and then it kicks in. Throat spray is pretty instant. It's really, really good. I can't recommend it enough. They are specifically formulated to relieve irritation from excessive speaking or singing to help you keep a clear voice. They have been doing this since 1912, and some of the most iconic artists of all time have relied on these products. One of the things that sets Vocalzone apart is that they do not contain any anesthetic that could potentially mask any underlying vocal damage. So you're not going to unknowingly sing or podcast yourself into more issues. The blend of ingredients is pretty unique. I must say, so is the taste. When you take one of these, I cannot explain to you how good your throat suddenly feels. There's this real sense of euphoria when you eat one of these. And they do a honey one, guys. Honey, like this boy. So yeah, if you're looking for a confidence boosting product that won't break the bank, please consider supporting the show and supporting Vocalzone using the website. This will take you to an affiliate link and you'll get 10% off everything on their store. Please check out Vocalzone. They do a lot for the local community around them and I can't think of any product better to keep your throat and your voice in the best possible shape it can be.
Absolute bedlam.
Back after the ad break.
Yeah. Back after the scary thought of AI becoming human. You mentioned music with your co-host. What was his name again?
Cole.
Oh. Have I seen something recently online about you playing drums again?
Yeah, so I I never really stopped playing drums.
Yeah.
I'm terrible about publicizing it.
Yeah. Fair enough.
It's very much a hobby for me, but
Hmm.
yeah, I just played yesterday at church, and that's usually where I'm playing is church on Sundays. Very rarely I've been able to get some video clips that I post in my story, but even that's tough because I don't have a recording set up at home, and
Hmm.
getting good audio of playing drums is,
Hmm.
well, kind of impossible unless you have drum mics in a studio and all that.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. So, is there an opportunity at some point? I know that you've obviously got a lot going on already, but is there a chance to take the drum kit out of the church scenario, or are you happy just using it within that parameter?
Yeah, I mean, playing drums at church is a passion for me, is something I get a lot of enjoyment out of.
Hmm.
Um, I probably could find gigs outside of church, especially living in Nashville.
Yeah.
I mean, I theorize I possibly, I may need to up my skills a little bit and practice more, but I maybe could tour full time living in Nashville.
Hmm.
It's just it's not something I want to do.
Yeah.
There's some genres, jazz is pretty fun.
Hmm.
Some forms of rock I find fun. I can't stand country, so I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't want to play on Broadway in Nashville. Don't
Yeah.
want to play in a bar band. It's just not
Hmm.
at all interesting to me.
I think as well, maybe because it's a local thing to you, it might not apply, but being a musician is a full-time job if
Oh
you
yeah,
want it to be. It will suck up
absolutely.
all your time. And you might lose that routine and discipline to do your Crayler YouTube channel
Yeah.
because you might not be around a recording facility, like your bedroom, for example, or the spare room that you're in now. But I don't know. I think it's good to try different things. It's good to taste a lot of different food rather than just go, hell for leather on just one thing. So maybe if
Yeah.
you are feeling burnt out content wise, you can take all your aggression out on the drum kit.
Yes.
Uh,
I play almost
yeah,
every day. I'll get up from my
amazing.
desk, walk to the next room and
Yeah,
just play for a while.
very cool. Very cool. Do people, how am I going to say this? Do people praise you when you do your church sets? Do
Um,
people come up to you and say, oh, you know, great job?
yeah, I do get compliments. I mean, all the musicians at my church are incredible. It's one of, I mean, first of all, any church in Nashville, the musicians are great, but mine especially is like one of maybe three that I can think of, like music churches in Nashville where
Yeah,
they're writing their own songs and producing them, and churches all around the world are playing their music. So
yeah.
it's in general in Nashville, it's like you're not really special. You're not going to impress anyone unless you're like truly
Mm,
the best. But I do still get compliments sometimes,
mm,
and I know it's sort of a bubble. I think, if I played drums in most other cities, people would be like, wow, that guy is amazing. But in Nashville, I would still consider myself a
mm,
good drummer.
mm.
There's a ton of good drummers here.
Do you have like a set band, sort of the same members every week? Or is it
No,
a bit
no,
more of
it's
a rotating?
a huge rotation. In
Okay.
fact, I know at my church they don't need more drummers. They're like they have a waiting list of people who want to play
Wow.
drums. And they're just as people move away or maybe change
Yeah.
churches, they'll add people as needed.
Wow. Fantastic. Yeah, it sounds like you're living your best life.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I love the creative scene here in Nashville and music and content, and
Mm.
it's just so fun.
And there's also this autonomy with you. I feel that if you're not interested in doing a tech review, then you can switch and it's not like, yeah, but I need to play the latest Fortnite update. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like I have
Yeah.
to play a Pokemon Go event that I'm not actually that enthusiastic about, but it's literally happening right now, and if I don't film it, I won't get any views.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
most of my content is evergreen, so I can,
Yeah.
take my time to produce stuff. And I think, again, the trap that's easy to fall into as a creator is just the sponsored stuff, because
Yeah.
that kind of is that version of, okay, there's a deadline coming up, I got to
Mm.
get this done. A common scenario I run into is, I will vet and test products before I agree to talk about them, but stuff is constantly changing in software. So I've had where I say, okay, yeah, you can sponsor a video. We'll talk about, XYZ, your platform. And then as I'm scripting and recording,
Mm.
it's having a meltdown. I'm like, okay. So I got to go back to the company and tell them, hey, it's got all these bugs. This isn't working. That isn't working. And 9 times out of 10, the companies are great to work with. They get their development team on it. They fix it. We reshoot. But it's frustrating when you have that deadline coming
Mm.
up, and oftentimes it's the client who's like, we have to have it by X time. So you
Yeah,
work
yeah.
really hard to meet that. And then it's like, actually, your own
Yeah.
product is the reason that now it's delayed and we have to reshoot, and then it's going to take, double the time.
Mm. I've never really thought of that before, but yeah, software does move very quick and the functionality can change. So by the time you've actually done your advert and your sponsored video, in 2 months, if you are backing an ERP software and then they suddenly pivot, then your advert's actually not even selling their USP. Do you know what I mean? But
Yeah,
that's not your fault. That's the product's life cycle. Maybe they need to tell you about the spoiler, get you to
right.
sign an NDA or something saying, this is what it's going to become. So by the time
Yeah,
you've recorded, we'll actually be ready to activate the third part of the software versus yeah. Yeah, I've not thought of
yeah.
that before. Yeah.
And it's getting more
Tricky.
difficult as I'm pivoting more to AI, like I feel like everyone.
Yeah.
But I have a researcher who helps me with AI content. She's super passionate about
Mm,
testing AI and researching, and so I had her help me with an LLM comparison, which is
mm,
still not out. Hopefully next week it'll be out.
yeah.
But we wrapped up testing 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it's like as soon as we wrapped up testing, Google I/O happened and Gemini launched a new model, and we were just like, oh. What do we do? Do we go back and do all the testing again? Do we just say, well, we just wrapped up testing and then this came out? But, YouTube, the audience doesn't care. You're going to get all the comments saying, yeah, but what about Gemini 3.5? This is Gemini 3.1.
Mm,
So it's tough covering AI because, even like
yeah.
anyone who covered Fable 5 or Mythos 5, what was it out for 3 days before it got yanked?
Yeah.
But that's great content right now for anyone who's covering the drama of why it got
Yeah.
yanked and all that.
Yeah, it gets into a bit of a commentary landscape, doesn't it? Like, why was GTA 6 delayed? And
Yeah.
I remember last time we spoke, there was a lot of WordPress drama, wasn't there?
Oh gosh. Yes, there was.
And I immediately thought to myself, damn, this episode has to go out quick because otherwise this isn't going to make any sense to anyone.
Yeah, no, that was
Yeah,
we were in the thick of it last year. It's
yeah, yeah.
it's quieted down, yet it's still allegedly it's still going to be a lawsuit that I think the trial starts in February
Okay.
2027 for the drama that started in 2024. I mean, it's just mind-boggling.
I wonder how astute the courts are with things like Meta and
Yeah.
Snapchat and the functionality of technology nowadays, because I always think the courts and the lawyers and the judges aren't from our generation.
Yeah.
So how can they understand someone logged into a dodgy website and bought something
Yeah. I
when they would usually just go to a shop physically? Do you know what I mean? Like they don't get it.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I think that is why it boils down to who has the best lawyer.
Yeah.
It's it's sad, but it's kind of like who can sell the judge the best on why they're right. Did you see the bricks and minifigs drama?
No. Please tell me everything.
Oh, it's way too much for me to tell you. Do you know about bricks and minifigs?
Is minifigs a Lego thing?
Yeah, like mini figures, I think
Mini
it's
mini
short for. But
figurines.
there's a chain of stores called Bricks and Minifigs,
Okay.
and it's a franchise. There's probably like hundreds of them across the US. I don't know if they're international or not,
Yeah.
but definitely in the US. So there's a YouTuber called Reckless Ben who exposed the Bricks and Minifigs chain for they basically stole this guy's like $200,000 Lego collection. He gave it to them on consignment and they paid him a bit of commissions, but then I don't know, he noticed like inventory just kept clearly being sold and he wasn't getting paid. So his son confronted them and said, "Hey, we want all our stuff back because it's on consignment and their contract said they can take the inventory back at any time, whatever's not sold." And the store, there's a lot here. It's literally an hour
Okay.
and a half YouTube
Yeah, yeah,
video.
I'll watch
So
that.
definitely
Definitely.
watch it. But the long and the short is like the corporation denies that it happened. They're like, "What do you mean? That's our inventory. That's not your collection."
Right, okay.
And just totally gaslighting the guy.
Yeah.
But the climax of the series is Reckless Ben exposes all this corruption in the local police department in Utah, where he proves with the police body cam footage and all the interactions that they're essentially like there was a clip of the police talking to the Bricks and Minifigs CEO on the phone saying, "What do you want us to do with this kid?" And the CEO is like, "Whatever you can do, can like come up with whatever charges."
Yeah, yeah.
So like they pulled the kid over and were like, "We think you have drugs," and searched his car for 3 hours. And of course there was nothing there. But they're just trying to stall the kid
Yeah.
with any means possible. It was a
Wow.
crazy, I mean, it's like taking over YouTube right now. There's
Okay.
all the commentary on it and legal channels. I thought about that when you started
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about lawyers because I'm like, sadly, the kid has no money. Like Reckless Ben, he's talked
Mm,
about because he does this type of investigative journalism. He's like, none of my content's monetized.
mm.
I barely make enough to pay rent, even though his videos get millions of views.
Okay.
So he right now, like today, he has a warrant out for his arrest in California. So he fled the country. He's in Mexico, and he's just like continuing to try to find a lawyer, I guess, even though I don't think he can afford one, and
Mm.
just like work on this project. But
Wow.
I think as soon as he comes back to the US, he's gonna get arrested.
Damn. All about Lego.
Yeah.
Have
Yeah,
you
I know. It's
have you
insane.
seen a documentary on Netflix called Pepsi Where's My Jet?
No.
That is very, very interesting. So there was a fake, in air quotes, Pepsi advert, and they talked about the ring pulls being like one token, or there potentially, this is pre-QR code. There was a website that you could register your can on, and you would get like 5 Pepsi points. And as a joke in the advert, they said if you get 9,999, you'll get an F-35 fighter jet. So this person clearly had nothing better to do with their life. And they got all their friends around in their front room. And they were like, right, you're attacking Kentucky. You're attacking Idaho. Like, it was insane, dude.
Oh my
And
goodness.
they got 9,999 Pepsi tokens or whatever they were called. And Pepsi were like, we obviously don't have a jet. And the guy's like, I'm taking you to court because you did
Oh,
an advert specific, and they edited the advert so that the jet wasn't in, because obviously that was like the top prize.
yeah.
And I was like, damn, this is crazy. And there's a part in the documentary where he's getting buried, and his family are like, you just have to bail out now. Like, you need to just take the settlement fee. And he's like, I don't want to. Like, this is a $1 billion company. And it's kind of similar to how you were describing that. But I'll
Yeah.
check if that's on US Netflix, because it was a real thing over in the UK a couple of years back.
Wow.
But it just shows how much you can get pressed,
Yeah.
into a fine paste if you let it. And it can really absorb all your resources. And like you say, the best lawyer wins.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
100%.
interesting times. So, with your Christian podcast, is there a theme per week where you formulate an idea and then potentially you go through a chapter in the New Testament? Unfortunately, I haven't had time to actually watch it yet. I will watch a couple of episodes and I'll probably give you a 5-star rating on Spotify, but you actually have to watch a whole episode now to do that.
Do you really? I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it used to be 30 minutes because most podcasts are an hour long. But yeah, do you theme it around a central idea or do you just get together and riff and see what comes out?
It's kind of both. We do have a central idea, and that starts the conversation, but our early episodes have been maybe 30 minutes of it is about that idea, and the back 30 minutes we've kind of drifted off into still Christian related topics, but just very kind of random.
Yeah.
We're trying to be a little bit more topical going forward,
Mm.
especially with the guests. But yeah, in general, so episode one was me sharing my testimony, how I found Christ.
Yeah.
Episode two is Cole sharing his.
Yeah.
Episode three, our title was the inability to be perfect. So
Mm.
that was kind of I mean, that was the theme for the episode. So we try to come up with maybe it's like a hook for the episode and then
Yeah.
just have an open discussion on that.
Mm.
And oftentimes we do have scripture that we've researched and include in that as well.
Amazing. Yeah. Do you think at some point in the future this could become your main thing versus all the other stuff you do? Or do you
Yeah.
have like a hierarchy of needs in terms of my YouTube channel has to be the top?
I would actually like to make faith-based content full time.
Yeah.
So the podcast is part of that. My Christian Makoa brand is part of that, which we haven't even gotten into the whole rebrand. We don't have to,
Yeah.
but that's been a whole thing.
Hmm.
And my goal is to do that full time. And I mean, ideally, what I keep saying to myself is in 3 years. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's going to play out or not, but I'm hoping over 3 years, I build up the income enough from the personal brand, faith-based content, and then I don't have to make trailer content anymore.
Okay.
Not to say I won't. I mean, if there's
Yeah.
stuff I'm passionate about, I will, but I don't want to rely on that YouTube channel anymore.
Hmm. Since we spoke last, have you ever, I suppose, have you ever been noticed in public as the guy that does the tech reviews?
Uh, I mean, pretty much only when I'm going to conferences or
Yeah.
I'm at conferences. I have had some funny experiences though.
Yeah.
I was on a flight to a conference
Mm.
and this guy's walking down the aisle and he looks at me and goes, "Are you a podcaster?" And this is before I had the like any
Yeah,
podcast.
yeah, yeah.
And he used the term podcaster. So I said, "No." I was confused. Like I didn't even consider that he
Yeah.
may be meaning YouTube. And he's like, "Oh, you look just like a guy who just interviewed one of my friends." And I'm like, "Okay, no, I don't think it's me." And later on at the event that I was flying to, I saw that same guy in the room. I'm like, okay, there has to be more to this story. So I went over and talked to him. It's like, no, you are the guy that I saw on the plane, and you interviewed my friend so and so. And when he gave me more context, I was like, oh yeah, okay, I did do that interview. Yeah, you did recognize me. It was
Mm.
just so random. And then the
Yeah.
guy sitting next to me on the plane thought I was famous after that. He
Love
was
that.
he was
Yeah.
kind of like, bro,
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
your Instagram? And like,
Yeah, yeah,
it's like
yeah.
I'm a nobody. Oh, but then just a couple weeks ago, I was flying to WordCamp Europe. I was on a flight from London to Krakow, and I walked down the aisle. This is a BA flight, by the way.
Yeah.
I walked down the aisle to go to the bathroom, and this guy just goes, he taps me on the shoulder and goes, "Are you Krayler?"
Wow.
And I'm like, it turns out I know him. Like it just we had a
That's
call. He was just
strange.
being funny, but it took me a second to recognize him because that
Yeah.
parasocial relationship of
Yeah, yeah.
people have like all these high quality photos and videos of what you look like,
Mm.
and then you have like their one crappy blurry profile picture, and
Yeah, yeah.
oftentimes people look a bit different in person than their one photo that you've seen.
Yeah.
So that does happen a lot at events where people
Mm.
are like, "Hey," and you just see it in their eyes. It's like they know you, but you don't recognize them, and
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
like, "Oh, this
absolutely.
is so awkward. I feel bad."
Do you think that might progress as you do more personal content versus, oh my God, you're the guy that helped me explain G Suite, you know,
Yeah,
because you're not putting that much of yourself out there, you're just showing productivity tips. Whereas
yeah,
if you're talking about your religion very openly and very honestly, that might create a bit more of a conversation in the street
yeah.
situation.
I think that's very likely because, again, right now, unless I'm at a niche conference for these tech topics, I don't get recognized. But I think with the faith-based stuff, as it grows, yeah, that could be, especially living in Nashville where there's a high density of Christians here. I could see myself walking in Nashville and someone recognizing me,
Mm,
which is, I don't know, it's a weird, really weird experience.
yeah. What's been the best sort of culture that you've been to since you did those crazy air miles? What's the best country other than the US that's made you go, I could actually live here and there's
Mm.
enough going on around me that I could make this my YouTube epicenter. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. You know, honestly, I do think I would maybe not have to, but prefer to live in an English speaking country, which is kind of a bummer because there have been a lot of countries with beautiful scenery and I love their culture. It's just I think the language barrier would get frustrating.
Yeah.
So probably Singapore. I
Okay.
really enjoyed Singapore. I want to go back. I was only there for 24 hours, but
Yeah.
speed ran it. I mean, I saw like 10 attractions in 24 hours. It was kind of wild. Other
Wow.
than that, I did really enjoy London.
Hmm.
I would like to go back there as well. Um,
Hmm.
haven't been to Australia yet, want to check that out. But yeah, Singapore I know is very tax advantageous for
Yeah.
businesses. Dubai, I mean, Dubai is English speaking and they're similar. I'll say though, Dubai is not for me to live there. I've had some
Yeah.
interesting
Hmm.
experiences in Dubai.
Yeah, I've not been, but it seems very grind set.
Yeah.
Money is everything. I need a sports car. I don't know if you watched the Louis Theroux documentary, The Manosphere, but there's a guy called HS Tiki Toki who I think lives out in Dubai, and he's a very, you should be a man, follow my course,
Mm,
one of these people. And he did actually get an offer for Andrew Tate to do that documentary, but he actually wanted money to be on the show. So Louis Theroux's like one of these crazy. I think he's probably one of the best documentarians out there, and he'll talk to anyone about anything. And he said in Dubai he felt very safe, and it's a very clean place, but there's always this sense of like everyone that speaks to me has like an ulterior motive,
yes.
and they want to get clips, and it feels like
Yeah.
everything's really become very content driven out there, you know?
Well, and what's interesting is in some ways, I had the opposite experience. I
Okay.
was there back in November for a conference, and I was a media partner at the event, so I did a bunch of interviews, and those all went fine. But there was one CEO I didn't get to interview during the event.
Mm.
Time got away from us, so we said let's just do it the morning after. And the event was at a hotel, and we were all staying at that resort. So it's like, yeah, let's just meet in the lobby, do the interview, and we did all the other interviews in the lobby.
Yeah.
So. I set up my camera. We start doing the interview. All of a sudden, two or three like big guys in suits walk up, and they're not interrupting us, but it's clear it's like they're here because of us. And we were doing the interview, but I could see it in his face, and I'm sure he could see it in mine of like what's this about? What's going on? And so his girlfriend starts talking to the guards, and they're like, you guys can't be filming here. And she's, I think, just trying to like kill time while we finish up our
Yeah.
interview, which we did. And then when we're done, we go over and talk to them, and they said, yeah, it's illegal for you to be filming. And we're like, why? I was filming all day yesterday. It wasn't a problem. They said, yeah, well, the event had a permit for filming. The event's
Okay.
over. You can't film. And I was like, okay, but I mean, it's literally just the two of us, and we're like, we both consent to being on camera.
Yeah.
They said, right, but you're by a window, and theoretically, you could see someone, like just someone out in public who walks by the window. Like they might be seen in the background of the video. And because of that, it's illegal because apparently filming in public in Dubai is illegal unless you have
Okay.
a permit. So
Hmm.
it was at that point that I was like, I
Yeah.
don't want to be here anymore. I'm like,
Yeah.
if I'm stepping on toes that much.
Yeah. Hmm.
Like you could not. I edited the video. I mean, there were there were a couple moments where I blurred faces out just to be extra cautious because I don't want to get in any trouble with the UAE
Yeah. Yeah.
government.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, because they were pretty much like, if you don't stop, we're gonna call the police. And I'm like,
Wow.
please don't.
Imagine getting a phone call. Yeah. As if someone's like, you know, trespassing on your property or
Yeah.
endangering an animal. It's this guy's filming an
Yep.
interview with another man. Like, we're on our
Yeah.
way. Blue
Yeah,
signal.
it's like I do not want to get in trouble with the
Weird.
police in Dubai.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
heard some stories about those interactions.
Yeah, yeah. No, fair enough. Is there anywhere that you would 100% go back to country-wise other than Singapore if you were given the opportunity?
Yeah, I would go back to Indonesia.
Yeah.
I really liked it there. I have a friend who's a full-time missionary, and got to visit her and her little, it's like a little retirement town in the middle of central Java. And it was incredible, just her community and seeing how happy the locals are, just how much joy they have. And I
Hmm.
mean, beautiful country, lots to see and do, and everything is so cheap. I had a like a bougie fancy steak dinner at a restaurant for 11 US dollars.
Wow.
And you could eat,
Yeah.
like a Subway sandwich, $2.
Crazy.
Insane.
Wow. There's a guy I watch a lot on YouTube called Simon Wilson.
Oh, I love Simon Wilson.
Yeah, and
Oh, he's so good.
he's Welsh, isn't he? He's got a bit of a twang about him, and some people can't quite understand him because he speaks very quick.
Yeah.
And he's super nice, and I think he went to somewhere like Singapore or somewhere like that, Far East, and he went to because he does these £1 challenges or something, or no money challenges, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And he said to someone that was running a restaurant or a cafe, if I eat this food, can I just do some washing up? And the
Mm,
woman was like, yeah, of course, no problem at all.
wow.
And she was like just constantly giving him more and more food. And there seems to be this real shift of like, how can this benefit me? You know, how can I squeeze you as a tourist for as much as possible? And they just want you to like, I've never been that far out, but I've been told by a lot of people that they just want to like show you their house
Yeah.
and they just want to invite you over for dinner.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen in the UK, dude.
Yeah.
Like
No, it doesn't really happen here either.
some houses I've lived in, the neighbors don't talk to me.
Yeah.
Like, you
Yeah,
know?
I mean, and there's not a culture here. I live in the South too, where
Yeah,
people are friendlier. I could get on my soapbox about that because I think a lot of it's kind of fake and not genuine. But
yeah,
um, I mean, I know one of my neighbors, like when I moved in, and that's on me as much as it's on them.
Yeah,
But it's people. We just don't really talk to each other. It's
yeah, yeah,
like I wave across the street, and
yeah.
I don't know my neighbor's name, but we wave at each other.
Mm. So I'm going to finish with this one, which is a bit of a self-indulgent question, but it's never stopped me before. Have you got any questions for me at all, as someone that's been running a podcast for nearly 7 years now? Anything you want?
Yeah, yeah. I would love to know. I'm kind of going to ask the question you asked me, but in a podcast context, how
Yeah,
do you stay motivated, and how do you go about
yeah.
getting guests on consistently?
Mm,
How do you not throw off your production schedule, like chasing guests and like, oh, I can't find one to film this week? And,
yeah.
what's that been like for you?
So until recently, I haven't even thought about this, but I found out, I think it was last week, I haven't actually got any guests booked past August this year.
Oh, wow.
And I've not actually come into that challenge before because I'm always looking on YouTube and trying to find email addresses and, trying to speak to Ryan Trahan's editor and just whoever's available, whatever piques my interest, I'll follow that light. But yeah, I've found a couple of more local podcasters recently who have somehow been hiding behind a rock this entire time. So I'm going to try and sort of unearth them and show the world them through my lens. It is tough though to keep that grind going. I do a lot of videos now outside of the podcast, just talking
Okay.
about things that are going on and what I'm interested in. Because I think if my entire channel was just 1 hour podcast, 1 hour podcast, that's a lot. That's a hell of a commitment nowadays with this TikTok economy,
Yeah.
So I found a way to make it part of my life where I'm like, oh, I need to follow this guy up, or
Yeah.
I need to follow this guy back on Instagram and reach out to them. And I actually need to clear down my DMs on Instagram
Mm.
because I always put like lead, like I'm buying a
Yep.
product. And unfortunately, they stay as lead because I've got someone else that, messages me saying, I'm about to drop an album and it's coming out next month. So I'm like, oh, well, that's more time sensitive than me speaking to
Yeah.
someone about running a business.
Mm.
But it is tough. It's a grind. And without my editor, once again, I'd have probably about 16 episodes backed up at this point.
Wow.
I've just got really, really fast internet at my house now, so I can actually edit myself.
Sweet.
But he is just so much more naturally skilled at that.
So
And he,
how did,
yeah,
oh, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say he doesn't really charge much either because he's
Mm.
trying to make it his thing. So he's really good. But yeah, go on.
So how did you get the footage to your editor previously without fast internet?
I was going around my parents' house.
Ah,
I was
gotcha.
using my works internet, the guest version of it.
Okay.
I was beg, borrowing, and stealing for a little bit. It was only a couple of months, but where I moved out of my parents' house to pursue my own sort of situation, I had to up my data on my phone
Mm.
quite substantially. But I had to think to myself, if I want to upload this to Google Drive, this is going to cost me 4 gigs of data,
Yeah.
and I've only got 70 for the whole
Yeah.
month. So stuff did slow down a little bit, but we use Google Drive a lot. So I try to keep a good amount of retained data on there. Because when I first got Google Drive, I only had a 15 gig limit.
Oh, yep.
And unfortunately, I had to live in this very fast and loose world where if something was up on YouTube, I
Just
couldn't
delete it.
actually afford to keep the data.
Yep.
Now, actually, I've just got a 4 terabyte
Hey,
SSD
let's
hard
go.
drive that my Zoom background seems to hate. And it's so small,
Yeah,
like
those are great.
compared to a cup. So I'm gonna look at archiving stuff a bit deeper going forwards. But I know that some people put all of their data onto a external hard drive and then it breaks.
Yep. Yeah,
So
I use
there's no finite answer. I'll probably need some sort of NAS at some point,
yeah, I
but
use Backblaze to back up my hard drives,
yeah,
but I really need an NAS. I
yeah,
just don't want to spend the money on it.
yeah. But once you've got it, it's kind of just chilling in the corner, isn't it? But it's that
Well,
upfront.
I don't know. I was reading or I was asking AI and it said they have a 7 to 10 year lifespan
Mm,
and they're not cheap because I think the way I would do it. So my thing is I still want an offsite backup no matter what. If my house burns down, if
yeah,
there's a tornado or something crazy, Um, it's really expensive to back up a NAS with like to servers. It's there's just that adds up quickly.
yeah,
So probably the best solution is to buy two NASs. NASs, I think that's grammatically
yeah,
correct.
yeah,
Put one like I'd probably put the other one at my parents' house across town and it can back up to that one. I'm happy with that solution reliability wise, but then you're spending, say, 8 grand on the setup that in 8 to 10 years you're gonna have to replace because the drives
mm,
don't last forever.
mm,
So it's like, dang, you're still spending like a grand a year on storage if you average
yeah.
it out.
Yeah, and there's been so little circumstances where I've actually needed to go back. Once Jamie's worked his editing magic and it's
Yeah.
processing on YouTube, it's out for the world to enjoy. But yeah, it can get tricky though, going back to the motivation. I do think I put a lot of pressure on myself, and
Mm.
sometimes it's just not working.
Yeah.
So I just take the week off because it's not my main income, and I just say, right, I'm going to let go of the rope this week. But I suppose you have a bit more of a confluence maybe where you can just speak to your co-host
Yeah.
and you might not release the episode, you know.
Yep.
You might just be chatting across the table from each other. But mine's very guest heavy. So yeah, I see who comes back to me and I try and formulate an episode from there.
Mm.
But sometimes it's fine if there's nothing for a week, like what you said at the start of this with your output on YouTube.
Sure.
And that's just the reality of it.
Yeah.
You got to be kind to yourself.
100%. Yeah. And I can say we're about to run out of time, but
Yeah.
I I'm inspired by your consistency. I
Mm.
mean, I've been watching you over the past year. I mean, following from a
Yeah.
distance, but just seeing that you're always putting something out, that inspires me and I've
Yeah.
thought to myself at times, man, I gotta lock in. Ben's doing great. So
Thank you.
you're doing awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, it is tricky to see that sometimes when you're sat in the hot seat.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
get that.
awesome. Very good. Well, it's been lovely speaking to you. Everyone go check out Save a Seat. Even if you're not religiously inclined, please just give it a watch. And also check out Christian in every other facet. And if you're from Nashville and you see him in the street, go and high five him.
Yeah, come say hi. I'd love to
Yeah.
chat.
Fantastic. All right, it's been a pleasure speaking to you. We'll have to do another one of these at some point.
Absolutely. Put me down for round three.
Yeah, nice one. Thank you, Christian. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye bye.
Thanks. Bye bye.